Imagine a 15 years old girl growing up in a shack in one of the neglected poverty neighborhoods in Tel Aviv, Israel. Her father left her and her three sisters when she was a little child. Her mother is suffering from parental dysfunction. Imagine four girls raising themselves all alone. This is Nikki. While she tried so hard for so many years to cope with the education system, one day, in the ninth grade year, the principal had informed her she is about to be expelled from school. Suffering from eating disorder and much more emotional issues, the downfall was around the corner. At this point, she met us, Bridge for Youth. 7 years later, Nikki stood on the graduation ceremony stage with a diploma award, with a Dean List honor, with a System Information Bachelor. So good morning, everyone. Very excited to be here at Dreamforce. My name is Tomer Tveria, and I'm the CEO of Bridge for Youth NGO, which has worked since 2002. We support at-risk youth one moment from falling off the cliff, equipping them with tools and life skills in order to integrate them as independent, contributing individuals in the Israeli society. 8 years ago, I published in a financial web forum that I was looking for a volunteer to help me implement the Salesforce platform. 4 months later, I found the one who will also become a true friend. With me, Mr. Yaron Giller, who helped us sprinkle magic powder on that amazing, incredible Salesforce platform. Moreover, in Yaron's case, we expanded our expertise in Bridge for the Youth. We introduced him to another volunteer who might be the love of his life. Hopefully. So, how do we work? How do we make it happen? We in Bridge for the Youth, we operate an holistic, unique model with 6 intervention programs: pedagogical, emotional, life skills, national service preparation, parental guidance, and lastly, material assistance. We execute these 6 intervention programs in success centers, big apartments, that we also call them warm homes. Nikki had attended the success centers for 4 years. She used to come after school, put away her cell phone, put on her slippers, and after eating lunch, she started 6 intervention programs until 8 p.m. Like most modern countries, in Israel, there are thousands of youth that are at risk of dropping out of the formal education system every year. This model is a game changer in that field. By investing less than $10,000 per year in a child, the state of Israel gains an ROI and saves $260,000 per child. So why did we choose Salesforce? Back then, 8 years ago, we found ourselves dealing with thousands of files, JPEGs, PDFs, spreadsheets, docs spread all over, internal servers, Dropbox, Google Drive, and some of them were not even digitized. We look for one-stop shop to help us manage our beneficiaries, volunteers, and donor profiles, and also our external ones, school staff, municipalities, and government representatives, etc. Our stakeholders and management wanted to know what was our social impact, in what programs we were good at, and what we have to improve and work on. There was a huge data that we were missing that was worth gold for leveraging our NGO. needs for scale. We have the best practicing model. In order to help as many kids as we can, we needed a platform to help us manage the additional success centers as we scaled. And lastly, in 2010, we decided it's time to jump to the next stage. We needed a high national reputation and recognition, but we didn't have the KPIs to be shown while trying to be nominated to the national Stardom mark. For us, Salesforce CRM, it's not only customer relationship management. For us, C is for cause, R is for results, and M is for meaning, as you're going to see in the next slides. Since we started, we had an increase of 500% in our membership fees. As a result, starting to use a new collecting object that we customize. We grew our donation at 250% after starting using the management and the leads, the donation and the leads management at the nonprofit SuccessPack. We saved 90% on employees' time work due to automation process. So assignment as calculating salary stuff, data entering, producing impact reports saved us hours and hours of work. We also saved, due to our tailor-made reports and dashboards, 40% on decision making and 50% on operational cost. Till then, we had spent weeks in order to decide if we will continue with a particular program or not. You can also see that since we started implement the Salesforce platform in 2010, there has been a huge increase in our beneficiaries and our volunteers as we scale and open additional success centers. All the indicators that we saw in the last slides help us to achieve our biggest goals, as you can see with our alumni beneficiary. Since we started until now, 90% have completed their higher education. 95% have joined a substantial national service. 31% have gained a higher education diploma. And lastly, and most important, 95% have integrated into the workforce. Yaron, it's your turn to shine.
Yeah, can you hear me? Great. So, how did we get there? How do we use Salesforce across the organization? So 8 years ago, back then, everything was managed in Excel spreadsheets across multiple computers. We moved everything into Salesforce, into a one secured platform. So pictures, personal information, parents' information, everything is updated into Salesforce and trackable. School attendance. We sync into the school attendance system and update the youth attendance into Salesforce so we can measure the actual versus our KPIs. Success centers attendances, mentoring, one-on-one meeting, events, workshop, everything is trackable into Salesforce so we can measure the impact. School grades, tasks like a book assignment, for example, is all documented into Salesforce. We can track it and measure the improvement from the beginning till the graduation. Alumni tracking. We want to know what is the future with a graduate. We want to know what they're doing now. We want to help them. So we track it in Salesforce. We also use the information for gathering and reunion events. All the relationship between the beneficiary, parents' information, school teachers, mentoring information, all is updated into Salesforce and save us hours in time of work. 4 years ago, we added team reviews, surveys in Salesforce, so we can check the satisfaction of our internal stakeholders, volunteers and youth. And finally, documents, school diplomas, procedure, everything is inserted into Salesforce, and we can access it from multi-success centers. As we grew, we also added HR managements. So obviously employee and volunteer management, but also training workshop. We're monitoring and updating the information in Salesforce. Finance, so salary reports, obviously membership fees, and also budgets is also updated into Salesforce. We also created admission process, an automation admission process, so we can check that the information is entered correctly into Salesforce. We then have an approval process, management approval process, to accept the admission. And finally, internal stockholder and also external stakeholders are also updated and managed in Salesforce. Volunteer organization, like Salesforce, for example, we check the impact of each volunteer organization or on our NGO. Campaign management, online and offline, open houses, dinners, galas. We measure our ROI from the campaigns and also track the attendance, prospects' attendance, and follow up with them, and then trying to convert them into a real donation. Grants, donation, we manage the stages of each donation, and then we can track the funnel of the real donation. We also created an automatic process a year after a donation is granted, so we can create another donation a year after. We have multiple reports and dashboards in Salesforce, obviously to track the attendances, school grades, and we also created a benchmark dashboard between our success centers so we can learn and improve. Marketing and donation funnel reports and dashboard is also accessible to Tomer, our CEO. We're using Salesforce. One, when we are on the road, meetings, we update meetings, emails, follow-up tasks, notes, everything is updated from a mobile device. Tomer, our CEO, can access his reports and dashboard and view the updated information. And finally, we're leveraging the AppExchange ecosystem. We have multiple AppExchange in our system. For example, Timba survey to manage our volunteer and employee impact and feedback. Birthday emailer to send email greeting to our contacts. Picture uploader to update pictures in Salesforce and view them in the contact record. And finally, MailChimp to send mass email to our contacts. Tomer, back to you.
You know that behind all the metrics, KPIs, numbers, indicators, there are real-life stories. 5 years later, since Nikki stepped in Bridge for Youth, she got a full ride scholarship for a system information bachelor's degree. With the tremendous help of volunteers from Salesforce, Nikki was entitled for a Dean List honor. 1 year later, Nikki got recruited to an R&D department in one of the biggest e-commerce companies in Israel. But most important, last year, we closed the circle. 2 years ago, Nikki started volunteering as a Salesforce admin in the same warm home she was raised in, Bridge for Youth. By the way, by chance, it's a little surprise now. A mentor volunteer from Salesforce is sitting here in the audience. Please stand up for Delia Rosenfeld. Give her a big applause. Sorry. Using Salesforce holistic approach, giving back to community by technology, using Salesforce license, employees volunteering, and its donation program, we were able to scale and produce many success stories as Nikki's. For us, Nikki is a real trailblazer. Thank you very much for your listening. Thank you very much, Chris and Susan, for the great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all four of our speakers and to Tayab. We have a couple of minutes left, so if anyone has some questions, I'll make my way toward you with the microphone as quickly as I can. So if you just want to raise your hand if you've got any questions for any of our four speakers. We have, go. I'll start from the top.
Hi, I have a question for the first group that presented. Could you share with us what apps or what enhancements you made to Salesforce that allowed you to make those leaps and bounds? Like what are the App Exchange apps that you're using? What are the keys to everything being on one platform? I understand the being on one platform, but how are you selecting the ones that you do use, and which ones are you using?
Hello? Yeah. Well, we're using a number of apps. I should point out we started in May, so we're still quite new. But I think in addition to the apps, I explained about what we've done in terms of actually trying to, or actually changing the objects, like the opportunity object. That's been pretty fundamental to what we're doing. We've also, in terms of the charity, what we do is we have a number of regular givers. We have 180,000 regular givers. So what's been really key to us is actually trying to integrate all of those imports so we can have an automatic update. So we've been working with companies. There's a company called PTX who now actually manages all those donations for us. I mentioned things. We've actually as well developed our own app with Apple Pay. So if any of you would like to make a contribution via your iPhone, then you can do that. And again, is there anyone in the audience who can help me with any apps? Conga, thank you, absolutely right. So we're also using Conga to actually communicate with our donors, thank them for gifts and things. Is that helpful?
Thank you, Ian. We have time for just one more question, which is this lady here beside me.
Hi, I was wondering if you could speak to the resources that you needed to do this transition for those of us who are in maybe smaller organizations where we don't have huge technology teams or even Salesforce administrators. How do we go about, or could you speak to how you went about resourcing a project like this and implementing it across the board to your internal staff?
Yeah, so we are a small organization. I'm volunteering, so Salesforce, Tomer find me, on web page. Okay, I think this is the way to go. Find an organization, a corporate, one that can volunteer. Find volunteers in any way, gathering. Facebook, Twitter. I think this is the way to go with small organization with a minimal resource. So find your volunteers. This is the way to go.
I would add another thing. I would add another thing. Small start small. Start with small projects. Put your milestones, but start small. Start it. Don't put a lot of mess about all over your staff. So just choose the main project that you need now. Set your goals, but start small.
Thank you so much to all of you. Thank you for attending, and hopefully you enjoyed the session. Bye-bye.